Well, we're going to get started here. Basically, what we're going to be doing tonight is refreshing our Windows 10 desktop local domain joined system. We're going to refresh it, keep all our files, and rejoin it to our Azure domain to facilitate working remotely. So first thing you want to do, depending on what your screens are, I'm a right-handed user, so I'm looking at my left-hand screen. I have a dual monitor setup, so I'm going to go down to the hourglass right here and click. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to type the word refresh. And as you can see, you're going to see reset this PC. We're going to click that. And we're going to go reset this PC, getting started. I'm going to bring this over so you can see. And you have two options. The first option on top is keep my files. Remove apps and settings, but keep your personal files. Or remove everything. Remove all of your personal files, apps, and settings. We don't want to do that one. We're going to choose the first one. And it's going to go through its process. And basically, current settings, restore apps and settings, which came with this PC. We're going to leave the defaults. We're going to hit next. Microsoft is going to go through its process to see what it's going to do. And as you can see here, ready to reset this PC. Reset will change settings back to their defaults, keep personal files, reinstall Windows from this device, remove all apps and programs that didn't come with this PC. So we're going to go ahead and hit reset. And it moved over to the second screen, so I'm just going to kind of hold this right here so you guys can see this. And I'm working off of a Lenovo ThinkStation, which is one of the newer platforms from Lenovo. I'm not a mobile user per se, as I work in the IT department, so basically, my PC is setting at 22%. I think this particular system has a 512 SSD hard drive. I think I'm setting at 16 gigs of memory, and it's got an i7 Intel processor. So some systems might run a little differently. An older system is going to take much longer if you're running with a IDE hard drive or a SATA drive per se. This process right here is going to take more time to write and copy and get you back to where you're going. But ideally, what we want to do is we want to get back to a original state to where when we're pulling it out of the box and we set it up for the first time, we have the option of logging in using a Microsoft email address, which my company does. So we're kind of taking these steps to verify that it works correctly. and that our processes are going to be sound, because we're going to be in a hybrid state of possibly doing some that are still currently located in our office, but predominantly most of the users and systems that we have to reset are going to be remote. So it's a good time for myself, which is in the IT department, and the remote worker to work hand in hand and get a feel for what we're going to see. So I'm using my system as the guinea pig, and we're going to go from there to see how other systems work. So there's going to be more videos to come in this series, and I look forward to anybody's feedback. Well, we've been going for a little over 7 minutes, and we are at 45% on the process of resetting this PC. And I do believe once I have this system back to a state where I can get to a point to log in, some of the first steps that I'm going to have to do is run all the system updates from Microsoft to make sure. Um, well, let me back up a little bit. First, we'll have to, one, get authenticated with the new process of connecting to the Azure domain. Um, Two, run all the system updates, make sure there's no outstanding updates, and it's got a fresh, clean install of everything. And then go through and document what programs that I'm going to have to reinstall. Adobe, uh, the Adobe Team Suite. Myself, I use Acrobat Pro. I don't use the suite that has all the products. I'm going to have to install Microsoft Office. And by doing all of these things and having these programs self-installed, we will basically, in a nutshell, automate some of the processes. Because now that the system is joined to the Azure domain, when I launch Microsoft Outlook or the Teams app or anything like that, I'm already going to be logged in to the actual desktop itself. So all of these processes would be automated. I just have to click a few screens to approve or configure the setup. Checking in, let's see, is 9 minutes and about 30 seconds, and I'm at already 89%. So this particular system is going a lot faster than I thought it would. Unfortunately, I'm using my GoPro uh, wirelessly connected to my cell phone, and I don't have my stream up, but it'd be a good time for me to answer any questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold a playback of this and talk about the processes. So anybody that checks it out and has questions and stuff, I'm going to try to schedule something to come back and actually answer any questions as we watch the process. You guys are going to get a little bit of bleed back there. I actually launched my Twitch app on the phone to see if I had any viewers and possibly chat with anybody in the chat. So I apologize for that. This is a live stream. I haven't done any cutting or editing. Probably won't. I'm new to this, so I'm kind of learning as I go. Well, it looks like we've kind of ran into the first kind of little bit of a stall, as you can see. We've been running for right at 13 minutes, and we're sitting at 89% for the last, I'd say, 2 minutes. So once it gets past that hump, it should go fairly quickly. I'd like to give a shout out to another TV viewer, community for small streamers, and Discord for streamers. Um, they're connected to the chat right now, watching, and just want to give a shout out. Thanks for tuning into my streams. Right after this, I'm going to take a quick 10-minute break, and then I will get going on what everybody's here to see. Some streams of the division, possibly some MLB tonight. I'm not quite sure yet. Taking it one step at a time. So looks like it's done with the first stage. We're now sitting at 0% on installing Windows. the nice blue screen, you know, when you've had those when you run into an issue. And as you can see, there's a ton of wires and plugs and cords all over the place. This was put together pretty quick because we are on we're on a time schedule to kind of work out our processes. So I just kind of threw it together tonight, moved out some old equipment that I had here, and threw in a makeshift workstation. So we've moved over to our secondary screen here, and I'm just going to take a quick minute and kind of show what we're seeing. Still the same blue screen. We're just setting it about 2%. And I'm set up in my garage, you know, out away from everybody in the house. They do their thing, I get to do my thing. Well, instead of sitting here holding this thing, I'm going to see if I can kind of get her right in here. Let's see if we can't. And I'm pretty sure once it gets back to a certain place, it's going to switch over to the other screen, and when that happens, I'll move it back over. Well, it looks like we actually have some movement here. Went from 2% to 5%. So far so good. Oh, we just jumped to 10%. And we're running right at 19 minutes so far. So start to finish right now, I mean up to this point, it's taken us 19 minutes. And I assume it'll take us another probably hour of just going through and trying to remember what apps, this, that, and the other to get installed. So. Stepped away to get a quick drink, and we're sitting at 38%. Well, we jumped from 38 to 44 in a quick second, and we're up to 45% now. Now we're at 56%, so we're getting there. And so far, we're at 23 minutes and 10 seconds, and we're at 56% of the first portion of this, basically re-imaging and making it a fresh copy of Windows, kind of like I said earlier, you know, from the factory, pulling it out of the box for the first time. And each individual's process might be a little bit different. Older PCs or laptops might take longer. Home version versus Pro versus, you know, workstation. My systems are all workstations, so it's a Pro license. And we have officially moved back over to the other screen. I'm not quite sure why the excuse me, why the system splits between the two screens. So, and again, I was too premature. I moved it over for a split second, and now we're back to 64% on the secondary screen. So I'm assuming that it's growing, you know, Windows is going through its checks and balances, checking the video cards, seeing what inputs and outputs are plugged in, that sort of thing. So it has a starting point. Well, we're sitting at 65%. Well, 69, 70. So 74. So we're moving right along. Systems working very well, 75%. And I'm noticing that I just took these monitors, the piece, you know, the PC, all the equipment from my office down in San Diego, as I live up in North County, and I can tell that our cleaning service hasn't been doing a very good job. Hovering right around 78%, I'm super excited. We're getting there. We're sitting at 79%. We're getting there. Welcome to the stream, Criminalistic. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. Criminalistic's one of the mods and editors for my channel, twitch.tv/hippiemarine. Good friend. And we're trying to do what we have to do to get this off the ground. So, baby steps. So, the refresh for the installation of Windows is at 91%, and we've been running for 28 minutes and 39 seconds. Just shy of 30 minutes, and we're almost to a point to where we can start, the process of actually getting us back to where we need to be. Well, we're at 96%. Still working on the secondary screen. I'm assuming once it gets to 100% and it processes, goes through a few reboots, it will transition over to the left screen for me, since I'm a right-handed user. If I was a left-handed user, then I would be set up correctly right now, and I'd be working right to left. Excuse me, left to right. My apologies. Now here's a tidbit. We went from 96% back down to 88% on the installation of Windows. So one of the things that this process does is you need to make sure that you have at least 8 gigs of memory on your hard drive free, because it has to create an old copy in the event that you have to revert back from a failed installation, from a virus, spyware, or just a hardware issue, anything related to corruption. So basically what it has to do is this particular PC, the one I'm talking about, like I said, everybody's instance could be just a tad different, but basically you have to have enough space to read and write. to read data, to write data, and to process any installs, uncompressing and installing, and then the cleanup process, removing some of those installation files. Because if you recall at the beginning of this video, I chose the first option to do a refresh but retain all of my files and any programs that came pre-installed with the PC. So anything that was installed after the fact, like Adobe, Microsoft Office, unless the system came with Microsoft Office pre-installed, it's going to remove those programs. It's not going to remove those files. So once you install a fresh copy, it will automatically, knock on wood, reassociate all those files for Adobe, Microsoft, if you use PowerPoint, Microsoft Access, anything like that. Any plugins. Once you, like Chrome, I'll have to re-download Chrome, but once I authenticate, we use single sign-on, so once I authenticate into my Chrome browser, any shortcuts, any extensions, anything like that will automatically reinstall. I just have to approve some stuff, and we'll be off to the races. Well, here we go. All right. So, as you can see, it has got us to a point where we are at Windows, and as you can see here, it's getting me set up. We've got some updates for Windows. I noticed that it still had my domain information in there, and that's interesting. I thought that it would clean all of that, but maybe that's what the process is doing now. And as you can see my arm and stuff kind of sliding over here and there. I'm limited for space. I've got my GoPro set up on a tripod, and yeah, I'm doing a lot with a little and loving it. So anybody tuned into the stream right now, if you have any questions in general, yes, this is Twitch, but there's all kinds of things going on. Like right now I'm live streaming a tech video on how to refresh a Windows 10 system to join it to a new domain. But if you have a Windows 10 question, you ran into a problem, anything like that, let me know. And we can take it from there. I'm here to answer questions as we go. Well, as you can see, I'm going to switch this back over to the left screen. As you can see, I'm kind of foobarred, but real simple. If you've ever ran into an issue where you had to unplug something, move it, plug it back in, and your stuff was all messed up, if you right excuse me, if you right click on display settings and couple of things you can do. You can identify, like right now 2 is left and it's set up on right. All I have to do is left click, hold down, and drag to the right, or excuse me, to the left, and hit apply. And now I'm working in the right scenario. So for now, I'm gonna close this video and do some work and see where I'm at. And I'll follow up with at another time with a secondary video and see where we're at. So again, thanks for everybody tuning in, and I'll be back shortly to run through some gameplay with a division. Look forward to seeing you guys back here in about 15-20 minutes.